So, good afternoon everyone. We are the group 6 and we will be discussing the topic about the Asian regionalism. So, but before it, let me introduce my group team or my group mate. So, hi everyone. My name is Flores Katrina, the first reporter for this topic.
And I am Rochelle Gustador, the second reporter. My topic is all about the three propositions of Asian regionalism and the factors that are leading into a greater integration.
And I am J.N. Heridia, and I will be discussing the challenges to regionalism.
So, let's proceed to the today learning objectives. So we able to differentiate between regionalization and globalization. We able to identify the factors leading to a greater integration of the Asian region, and lastly we able to analyze how different Asian states confront the challenges of globalization and regionalization. So last meeting, we talked about the imaginary and physical divisions of the world. We were able to differentiate the characteristics of global north and the global south, where group 5 discussed this topic, and they also discussed the first, the second, and the third world division. In today's discussion, we will focus on the topic Asian regionalism. So for the meantime, let's set aside the other continents of the world. Let's just focus our mind on Asian continent. So let's start by defining first what is regionalism. So what do you mean when we say regionalism? So it is written there. So regionalism is created as a sort of counter globalization. However, regional organization will always prefer original partners over the rest of the world. So it is a different from interstate system because however interstate system, it was mentioned that each state belonged to the interstate, okay, wherein one state or could be this stronger than the other, no matter how stronger they are over the other regions or the other states rather. And when we say regionalism is a multifaceted concept with application in various fields including politics, economics, and language. So for example, sa regionalism about for politics, is the EU, which is the European Union, the ASEAN, the AU, the African Union, and for economic regionalism is the APEC, which is APEC. APEC means the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. So grupo ni siya nga nag-demonstrate a dynamic and evolving phenomenon that reflects the complex interplay. It's either political, economic, language, and etc. So next. So let's proceed to the difference between regionalization and globalization. So I assume that all of you are already familiar with the definition of globalization, since this was the first lesson we have discussed and it's the first word you have encountered in the subject, the contemporary word. So when we say regionalization is a process of dividing an area into smaller segments called regions, and it refers to the process of creating closer ties and cooperation between countries within a specific geographic regions. And it involves a collaboration in economic, political, social, and cultural areas. So, however, it focusing on shared interest or challenges within a region. So, when we say globalization is a process by which the people of the world are unified into a single society and function together. So, in short, globalization it's interconnected the world with a global scale, while regionalization focuses on cooperation with specific regions. Next. So another concept is the difference between regionalism and regionalization. Regionalism is the theory or practice of regional rather than central systems of administration of economic, cultural, or political affiliation. So it's actually often driven by the desire to strengthen political, economic, or cultural ties within a specific region, and for regionalization, so it's the division of a nation into states or provinces. So regionalization it focuses to a practical and often institutional process that involves creating policies, frameworks rather, or agreements for collaboration with a region. So in short, regionalism is the political or ideological belief in the importance of the regional cooperation and identity, while regionalization is the process of creating or enhancing cooperation with a region. So, the focus of our discussion today is all about the Asian regionalism. So, what is Asian regionalism? Asian regionalism is defined as a political ideology that favors specific regions over a greater area. It usually results due to political separations, religions, geography, cultural boundaries, linguistic regions, and managerial divisions. So you have to take note that it's not on political planning, but rather it's on economic interaction between Asian countries. Okay. However, so when we say Asian, of course, we are referring to the people from Asia. As a result of successful outward orientation growth strategies of these Asian countries, Asian economies have grown not only richer but also closer together. As they say, there is unity in diversity. When we say diversity, it means diversity. It means differences. Kalahian. Okay, so why is Asia considered the continent of diversity? Its customs and traditions. It's because people in Asia have different cultures. They have different customs and traditions. They have different religions and beliefs. They have different government and many more. So Asian regionalism is all about countries in Asia trying to improve their situation by cooperating with each other. This can mean helping each other economies grow, understanding each other cultures. However, the difference between countries sometimes make it challenging for everyone to agree on everything. So, for the evolution of Asian regionalism, in August 8, 1967, the ASEAN or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations was born with 5 original members, which is the first country is the Indonesia, the Philippines, the Malaysia, Thailand, and then lastly the Singapore. So these countries um, experience the tensions of the Cold War, sought stability and unity in Southeast Asia. So the ASEAN, which is the Association of Southeast Asian Nation, mission was to promote peace, prevent external influences from dominating the region, and to foster cooperation among Southeast Asian nations. So the core principles focus on non-interference in each other's internal affairs and resolving disputes peacefully. Okay, so let's proceed to the ASEAN. So ako na to siya na storya pag last ay diri sa topic nga the evolution of Asian regionalism. So again, ASEAN is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So the first ASEAN summit, ASEAN pa na
Sorry.
The first ASEAN summit was held on February 24, 1976 in Bali, Indonesia. This landmark summit was crucial for strengthening ASEAN's foundation and setting its direction. During this meeting, ASEAN leaders signed the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation or the TAC, which established guidelines for peaceful cooperation and conflict resolution among member states. So, additionally, they signed the Declaration of ASEAN Concord, which aimed to promote political and economic cooperation and further solidify unity in Southeast Asia. The summit marked a significant step in ASEAN's evolution, reinforcing its commitment to regional peace, stability, and cooperation, and laying the groundwork for future integration. And so for the APEC, which is the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, in 1997, the ASEAN plus three countries, which is the Japan, the South Korea, and the China, was instituted. So, in 1997, the ASEAN framework was established, bringing together ASEAN members and 3 major East Asian countries, which is the China, Japan, and the South Korea, to enhance regional cooperation, particularly in response to the 1997 Asian financial crisis, and also the APEC initiative aimed to deepen economic ties, strengthen financial stability, and foster broader political and cultural cooperation with East Asia. At the same time, in 1997, APEC, which was formed earlier in 1989, held its annual summit with a strong focus on promoting free trade and economic cooperation across the Asia-Pacific region. So, the APEC meetings brought together countries from both the Pacific Rim and Southeast Asia, including ASEAN nations. So together, additionally, the ASEAN and the APEC represented the key pillars of Asia's economic and political integration during the late 20th century, aiming to boost regional cooperation and reduce vulnerabilities, particularly after the financial crisis. So, next, in 2000, Japan and China competed over isa good gay gamay day.
Nagadi siya makuan.
Ano na? In the 2000s, Japan and China were both grappling with how to adapt to the challenges of globalization, especially as the world's economies became more interconnected. They actually tried to increase their influence in the region, but they had different strategies, particularly through their involvement in regional organization and how they positioned themselves in global politics. So Japan, with its established economic power, Japan focused on maintaining influence through existing global structures and free market principles. It was concerned about China's rising influence in Asia and the world. So, Japan sought to shape the future of regional economic cooperation in a way that aligned with its interests and values, like democracy, open markets, and the rule of law. So China, for China, on the other hand, was rising as a major global power. Its approach to globalization was to increase its influence in Asia through economic partnerships and initiatives that made China the central player in regional integration. So in short, for the both countries, Japan and China recognized that globalization was reshaping the world, and they sought to adapt to it by using their influence in regional organization. So for Japan, they tried to preserve the existing global order through open markets and democratic principles, while the China aimed to reshape the order to better suit its growing economic and political power. The competition between them over the politics of membership in regional organization was a way to determine which country would have the most influence in the future of Asia's economic and political structures. So in 2010, the East Asian Summit decided to add two more members, which is the United States and the Russia. So this decision was actually marked a significant shift in the structure of the summit, making it more inclusive and strategically important for the region. The inclusion of the United States and Russia was seen as a way to strengthen the EAS as a platform for addressing both regional and the global issues. So, another so I would like Rochelle Gastador to discuss about the three positions of the Asian regionalism.
I am Rochelle Gastador, and now let's proceed to the three propositions of ASIAN regionalism. Next slide. So first we have geographical Asia is too diverse for cultural Asia. So this means that Asia is a huge continent and has so many differences, like sa language, sa culture, and even sa religion. So maunang it's hard to talk about a single Asian culture because of the differences, like daghang kayo kalahian. Then second, we have geographical Asia is too small for globalizing Asia. So this means that while Asia is a huge continent, it is still one part of the world. We kinang dili gyapon siya enough bitaw para sa mga advancement sa Asia sa karon nga world. So ano ganito. So, despite being a huge continent, it is not large enough to encompass the globalizing forces that are shaping the world. So like gamay gyapon siya kumpara sa mga advancement karon sa atoang kalibutan. Then third, we have geographical Asia is too conflictual internally for strategic Asia. So these statements highlight the internal conflicts and tensions within Asia, making it challenging to develop a unified strategic approach. And example ani kayang territorial disputes sa West Philippine Sea and the South China Sea. So these statements, so these three propositions of Asian regionalism suggest that geographical Asia is a complex and more multifaceted region with challenges and opportunities that go beyond its geographical boundaries. Then next, we have regional integration. Okay. So regional integration is the process by which two or more nation states agree to cooperate and work closely together to achieve peace, stability, and wealth. So regional integration refers to the process of cooperation and coordination among neighboring countries to achieve peace, stability, and wealth. So from the word, kuan pa lang kinang cooperate and work closely, meaning magtinabangay to para ma-achieve ang peace, stability, and wealth, and even sa economic, sa political, and sa mga cultural benefits. Then next ay military defense. Military military defense. So, military defense. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or the NATO, was formed to protect Europe from the threat of the Soviet Union. Response, the Soviet Union created the Warsaw Pact. So, military defense refers to the protection of the nation's sovereignty, territory, and interests from external threats through the use of armed forces. So ang NATO kay i-form to protect the Europe sa mga threats sa Soviet Union. And as a response, Soviet Union created the Warsaw Pact. Na ang Warsaw Pact dahil kay from what I've searched lang, Warsaw Pact was a military alliance formed by the 8 communist states in Eastern Europe, led by the Soviet Union. So the military alliance called Warsaw Pact aimed to counterbalance the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the NATO, and maintain Soviet dominance in the region. The next, dahil. Next, economic crisis. The Asian countries, along with China, Japan, and South Korea, established an emergency fund to stabilize Asian economics after the reaping effect of the Thai economic collapse. So an economic crisis is a sudden and significant disruption in the economy nga makalid siya makakause of financial instability maka-increase dito siya unemployment nga makulangan sa resources. Countries need to pool their resources together to make themselves more powerful. The Organization of the Petroleum Exportation countries, or OPEC, rose in power when they took over domestic production and controlled crude oil price across the globe. So resources, I think, kinahanglan ka idea kung unsa ni, and resources are essential for the human survival and economic growth and even sa technological advancement. So sa resources natin, like natural resources, mga food, water, energy, mga minerals, human resources, Then human resources kina mga labor force, skills atong education na pila dira. Then sa technological resources na diri ang kinang information and communication technologies and data and cybersecurity. And also financial resources, mga capital markets, investments, and kinang mga funds for development project. Then, protection of independence. The countries under the non-alignment movement or NAM refused to side with the capitalist Western Europe and North America or the communist Eastern Europe. So protection of independence refers to the preservation of a nation's sovereignty, autonomy, and freedom from external interference or control. So the non-alignment movement refused to side with the capitalist and the communist because of some several reasons, which are they maintain sovereignty and avoid new forms of external control. So like avoid nila nga like dili bitaw sila ma-control sa laing countries. Then also they wanted to avoid entanglement in the Cold War rivalry. So like dili sila gusto nga kinamaapil bitaw sa mga Cold War. Then next day. And then factors that are leading factors that are leading the ASEAN region into a greater integration. So first we have integration has been market driven. Within Asia, there are a variety of systems, institutions, procedures, social relations, and infrastructures that are put in a place for countries to engage in exchange. So, the first factor highlights that the integration in Asia has been driven by market forces. It emphasizes the presence of diverse systems, lahi-lahi nga sistema, and institutions, procedures, social relations, and infrastructure that facilitate exchange and kinang mo collaborate among sa mga lain nga countries. Then second, formal institutions such as Asian Development Bank, or ADB were established. Conceived in 1960s, ADB promotes social and economic development in Asia. So the second factor, specifically citing the Asian Development Bank or the ADB, is another key factor in Asian integration, established in 1960s. So the ADB plays an important role in promoting social and economic development across the region. So like, one example kay EDB gani, the EDB provides loans and grants to support infrastructure project and education initiatives in other development program in Asian countries nga makakontribute sa ilang economic growth and stability. Then next, we have the third factor, economic. The third factor, economic grants and overseas development assistance are made available by better Asian economics. For example, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, on human security and quality growth. So the third factor states that economic grants and development assistance are made available para mo-improve ang economic sa Asia. Then ang example gani ang Japanese International Cooperation Agency. Kay ang kini nga agency kay focus sila on promoting human security and quality growth through its development assistance program. Then ang JICA kay napo sila funds mga project related to healthcare, infrastructure, education initiatives, or disaster preparedness in developing Asian countries, contributing to their social and economic well-being. Next is the fourth factor. Production networks have expanded. Economics are mainly cooperative advantage through regional division of labor. So from the word expanded, meaning ni hidako pa siya. Ang production sa network mas hidako pa siya. And economic benefits from cooperative advantage. So ang mga economy kay naka-benefit siya sa mga cooperation through regional division of labor. Like example kay the automotive industry often involves a global network of production. Like ang mga parts are like some parts are manufactured in different countries. Then ang pag-assemble kay mo take siya sa laing country. Meaning hinang bali adto ka mo palit og kinang mga parts sa laing country, din adto nimo kinang buhon bitaw reassemble sa isa ka country. This regional division of labor allows for economies of scale, specialized expertise, contributing to the overall success of the industry. So next, fifth factor, cooperation among the ASEAN and East Asian countries ensure the ASEAN plus 3 financial ministers process that establish two economic structure, which is the Shanghai Initiative and the Asian Bond Markets Initiative. The process aims to strengthen policy dialogue, coordination and collaboration in common financial, monetary, and fiscal issues. So, the fifth factor highlights the ASEAN and the 3 financial minister process na nag-establish duha ka economic structure. O ganini ang Chiang Mai Initiative and the Asian Bond Markets Initiative. So the process aims to balik. So mo to strengthen the policy dialogue, coordination, and collaboration sa financial, monetary, and fiscal issues. For example, the Chiang Mai Initiative is a currency swap arrangement that provides a safety net for member countries facing financial crisis. So, mo-help sila to maintain regional stability and prevent sila financial instability. Prevent financial instability. And the other example, the Asian Bond Markets Initiative promotes the development of a deeper and more liquid bond markets in Asia. So they help to reduce reliance on external financing and fosters greater financial integration within the region. So kining lima ka factor emphasizes the importance of regional cooperation and coordination, addressing common financial challenges, and promoting stability and growth in the Asian region. So they work together to drive greater integration in the Asian region, fostering economic growth, stability, and interconnectedness among its diverse countries. Then, next that ends my topic. So, Miss J.Ann will be the next reporter. Thank you.
And I am Jayan Hirijana, and I will be discussing the challenges to regionalism. The first one is resurgence of militant nationalism and populism. This involves the conflict between the NATO, the United States, and Vladimir Putin's anti-NATO movement. The resurgence of militant nationalism and populism impacts regionalism by emphasizing a country's individual interest over regional unity. Nationalism in this context focuses on protecting a nation's sovereignty and resisting outside influence, often leading to opposition against international groups. For example, Russia under Vladimir Putin resists NATO's expansion near its borders, seeing it as a direct threat. And the second is continuing financial crisis. The continuing crisis in the European region continues to lead the United Kingdom into exiting the European Union. The continuing financial crisis in Europe contributed to the United Kingdom's decisions to exit the European Union. Many in the UK were concerned that ongoing financial instability within EU or European Union countries could negatively impact their economy. Para nila, samtang sakop sila sa EU, mapil daw sila sa mga problema such as bailing out struggling economies. By leaving the EU, the UK aimed to gain control over its financial policies and protect itself from the broader European financial challenges, prioritizing economic independence over regional obligations. Next is conflict between sovereignty and regional stability. The Philippines had a difficulty in letting some countries support its condemnation of China's occupation of the West Philippine Sea because China had given great investments and economic aid to this country. The conflict between national sovereignty and regional stability is evident in the Philippine situations with the West Philippine Sea. While the Philippines condemns China's occupation of parts of this area, it faces challenges in gaining support from other countries. This is because China has provided significant investment and economic aid to many of these countries, making them hesitant to take against China. As a result, these nations are careful not to risk their economic ties with China, which complicates the Philippines' efforts para lang mapanalap din ang West Philippine Sea. The last challenges of counter-regionalism is differing visions of regionalism. Developed countries like the US may only see regionalism as a tool for political democratization, but developing countries see regionalism as an obstacle to economic globalization because public inquiry slows down its implementations. Differing visions of regionalism highlights the contrasting perspectives between developed and developing countries. Developed nations like the US often see regionalism as a tool for promoting political democratization, believing that closer cooperation can strengthen democratic institutions and governance. In contrast, developing countries view regionalism as hindrance to economic globalizations, arguing that processes like public inquiries and extensive consultations slow down the implementation of necessary economic policies. Next is, how do different Asian states confront the challenges of globalization and regionalization? ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ASEAN founded on August 8, 1967 by Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and the Philippines. Promoted economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the Southeast Asia region through multilateral cooperation. When we say multilateral cooperation, it means that multiple countries work together to achieve common goals and address shared challenges through dialogue, agreements, and joint actions. Taas ano eh. To summarize this part, according to Tan Abdul Razak, Southeast Asian nations must unite to form a new perspective and framework for the region, emphasizing that true survival and progress rely on effective action rather than situation. He advocates for fostering a sense of community among these nations, bound by friendship and shared ideas. Establishment of ASEAN is seen as a crucial step toward achieving the unity, allowing member states to collaborate and shape their own destinies together. The countries that are located in ASEAN are Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Cambodia, Brunei, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. These are the countries that are located in ASEAN. The energy and environmental concerns. Rapid economic growth for Asia has led to reliance on economic imports, increasing the importance of sea lanes and transformational routes. Asian states need to empower science and technology so that its citizens can eventually discover or create sustainable energy sources. Um, Rapid economic growth in Asia has led to reliance on energy imports, emphasizing the importance of protecting trade routes. Asian countries need to invest in science and technology to enable their citizens to create sustainable energy solutions, reducing dependency and ensuring energy security. Next is migration. Migration is the combination of rapidly growing populations in much of the developing world. Increasingly porous national borders and disparities in economic growth rates have sparked a dramatic increase in international migration. Rising populations, porous borders, and economic inequalities have increased international migration in Asia. To address these, countries like Malaysia and others may need to deploy military and naval forces to manage migrant arrivals. Diri siya kay kanang kuan sa country ang kanang sa Malaysia daw need daw need jud daw ang mga kuan nga mo-deploy in military, which is para sa Korea ang mga kuan kay kanang ni kuan sila og military, ni sulod sila og military para makuha ng ilang country. Sunod is the next is organized crime and threats from non-state actors. Through the increasing ease of communications and transportation flows and growing permeability of national borders, organized crime networks, terrorism, drugs, and weapon traffickers, and even human smugglers face fewer constraints on their activity. Organized crime and non-state threats in Asia have risen due to easier communication and transportation and porous borders. Asian countries need to implement stricter and national security laws. Dapat ang kwan daw, ang countries sa Asia need sila mag-conduct og mga law nga kanang mga stricter laws para sa ilang country. Next is weakening regional institutions because of rifts between authoritarian members of ASEAN. Flexible engagement allows for countries to comment on each other's internal policy matters. These countries can monitor economic indicators for signs of impending crisis. Rifts among ASEAN's authoritarian members have weakened regional unity. The flexible management policies allows member countries to critique each other's policy and watch for economic crisis. To protect their independence, Asian countries should resist external political influence. Next is shifts in balance of power. Deepening economic integration gives rise to regional economic blocs that compete for power and influence. This passage highlights how organized crime and non-state security threats have become more prevalent in Asia due to advancement in communications and transportation, as well as the increased permeability of national borders. These factors have enabled organized crime networks, terrorist groups, drug and weapon traffickers, and human smugglers to operate with less restriction. To counteract these challenges, Asian countries need to strengthen their national security measures through stricter laws. Mga balaod gihapon. The last is Next is expanding roles of the military. With entering traditional threats, the prospect of increased international tensions in Asia countries, and the emergence of new security challenges will place high demand on regional militaries. Increasing demand for military will likely coincide with a period of declining resources. This passage discusses the factors contributing to the increase in international migration in Asia. including rapidly growing populations in developing countries, more porous national borders, and significant economic disparities. These factors have collectively led to a surge in migration across the region. The last is globalization and democracy. Authoritarian regimes suffer more from the effect of globalization than states that embrace transparency, accountability, and the rule of law because these are norms that are the backbone of democratic and free market societies. Um, Asia economic growth has increased reliance on energy imports, making trade routes vital. Asian countries should invest in science and technology to help citizens create sustainable energy solutions. And that's all.